Hello, my name is Riley Hartzell, and today I'm going to introduce you to Killer Sudoku. First, we need to talk about the basics of Killer Sudoku. The very first thing that you need to know is that you may only use the numbers 1 through 9 when completing this puzzle. After that, it's important to know that each number can only be used once in different areas. So 1 through 9 can only be used one time in each row. So that's those rows that go up and down as well as side to side. They can only be used once in each no net. Those no nets are those smaller boxes that are 3 by 3 that you see inside this bigger overall puzzle. And lastly, each number can only be used once in its cage. The cage are those even smaller boxes that have the numbers which indicate the sum. So those small numbers indicate the sum, or what all the numbers inside that box will add up to in the end. Lastly, it's important to know that because you use the numbers 1 through 9, and each one must be used one time in each row and no net, that each row and no net will add up to 45. There are basic tools that you can use on almost any virtual Killer Sudoku platform. The very first thing is the pencil tool. The pencil tool will allow you to put your guesses into slots without committing to them. You can also put anything that you think might be a viable solution. To use the pencil tool, you usually select the cell in which you are trying to put a number into, so one of those little boxes, or you can hover over it and then type in the number. The next tool we are going to talk about is the sum calculator. The sum calculator is very helpful when you are first starting out. If you highlight the section in which you are looking for possible answers, you can hit the sum calculator, or in this case, you will need to put in your sum and your possible numbers manually, and it will tell you the different combinations that you can use to create the numbers in the cage. The final tool in which you will see me use is a regular calculator. It is not as readily available on online Sudoku platforms. This calculator allows you to highlight different cages and see how much they will add up to. This helps when you are trying to figure out how much is left over to get to that 45 number. Let's go ahead and get started together. The very first thing you will watch me do is fill in 7 and 9 for the number 16. When we look through all the numbers for 1 through 9 that we could use to add up to 16, 7 and 9 are our only options. I do the same exact thing with 17. You are only able to use the numbers 8 and 9 to reach the sum of 17. There's a little bit bigger ones that you will get used to the more you play. One of those is 23. If you have 3 boxes inside a cage and it adds up to 23, you will only be able to use the combination of 6, 8, and 9. After you get through your more basic ones, like 23 and 17 and 16, that's when you should start filling in all of your smaller ones that will not be able to use all the numbers 1 through 9. The example you see here is me filling in 8s. Even though 4 plus 4 will equal 8, you cannot have the same digits in a cage. So you see me enter the combinations of 2, 6, 3, and 5. From here, you're just going to continue to fill these in. As you go, you should be able to find a couple solutions. As your solutions start to slow down, this is when you can use the rule of 45. The rule of 45 tells us that inside each no net, it can only add up to 45. So if I calculate how much is inside the no net that we know for sure, we can subtract what is left over. Using these strategies, you should be able to get pretty far into the puzzle. As you get towards the end, you will notice that you are able to use the more classic Sudoku rules. There can only be one number in 1 through 9 in each row and each no net. Because of this, it is a lot easier to fill them in towards the end.